All right, I think we're ready to get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Build Low-Code AI with Salesforce and AWS. My name is Daryl Martis. I'm a director of product at Salesforce.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachna. I'm a principal AI/ML architect with AWS.
Before we start, I'd like to remind you to please make purchasing decisions made on currently available products and services. As part of our agenda today, we are first going to talk about our collaboration between Salesforce and AWS. We're going to talk about Salesforce Data Cloud as well as Einstein Model Builder. Then we're going to talk about bring your own LLM with Amazon Bedrock and the innovations there. We're going to talk some of the innovations that we've announced as part of Salesforce. We'll talk about a little bit more in depth with Amazon Bedrock, and then we're going to give you a demo. Go ahead.
Right. So before we kick it off, I just want to see, only if I can see you, there's so much light here. How many of you have been working on delivering AI systems, if you don't mind sharing? All right, I do see a couple hands. All right, so this slide will resonate with you. As you know, building AI system is not an easy task. There are a lot of challenges that you have to deal with as you create the AI systems. The very first most being the data being the heart of AI. Getting to a unified data with privacy and security in mind is no easy task. If you're talking about AI system, they are not the system that sit of its own. They actually get integrated with the overall workflow. So integration is another challenge when it comes to AI. And the talent in AI is limited. There is so much demand, so many things happening all around AI, but we don't have enough skills or the people available to fill the gap. And the hallucinations, the Gen AI has brought up new kind of challenges like hallucinations, which really means that the models may look like to be providing you right answers when actually they are not. The very fact of the situation is that 50% of the AI projects in development never make it to production. And that is the reason organizations are rethinking their AI/ML strategy. And that's where AWS and Salesforce have come together to create low-code platform solutions that developers and our joint customers can really use it easily and build the Gen AI applications and then get the most value out of the platforms that they're using. So let's see how AWS is helping Salesforce build the AI/ML platform. A very good example of that is Salesforce Einstein is using SageMaker offering. Amazon SageMaker is a machine learning development environment that you can use to build machine learning projects end to end. Einstein is using SageMaker inference capabilities to host the Gen AI solutions in a way so the customers can get the most value, higher throughput, and lower latency. Very recently, Slack has launched a product called Slack AI. Slack AI helps you summarize the threads. It helps you recap the channels. So think about it, the last time you went for a vacation, 2 weeks back, you come back and you have to read through all the messages. It's a great use case. Slack AI summarizes all those conversations for you. Slack AI used SageMaker offering to host the Gen AI models behind the scene. Why? Because SageMaker provides a very compliant and safe solution for hosting the models. Not only that, Salesforce MuleSoft is using intelligent document processing solution, which is running and using Amazon TextRack service. Amazon TextRack is an API-based service that you can use to extract the data from the PDFs and from the images and get the data inside. The invoices are one of the use cases that you can use to use the TextRack for getting the data out. Salesforce Industry is using many Amazon API-based AI services like TextRack and Comprehend. And also, last but not the least topic of today's discussion, Salesforce Data Cloud. Salesforce Data Cloud is a next-generation data platform in Salesforce, which is running on AWS infrastructure. Data Cloud provides you various capabilities like Model Builder. Using Model Builder, you can connect to the models in your own AWS account in SageMaker and in Bedrock and use the traditional as well as the GenAI models all across Salesforce. With that, I'm going to give it to Daryl to talk all about Salesforce innovations.
Thank you, Rachna. We have announced as part of our innovations Agentforce. What Agentforce allows you to do is to build agents that are autonomous and can work within certain parameters. So it allows you to be built on our Salesforce platform. It follows all of our trust guidelines. It allows you to build scalable solutions for service, for sales, for marketing. And it integrates with our Customer 360. So all of our products can integrate with it. The agents themselves can take data from many different sources and can do RAG analysis on them. So there's contextual data that is passed on to the AI agents here. So like I mentioned, we've built this on top of our existing platform, our Salesforce platform. What underlies all of this is our platform plus our data cloud. So data cloud allows you to bring in a lot of information, a lot of data from many different sources. You can then add to that. You can segment your customers. You can. It's a very powerful tool that can add on to your existing solutions with Salesforce. And on top of that, you have your existing Customer 360. And the huge benefit of that is that all of these apps are then integrated with each other. The information can then pass through onto Data Cloud. And you have the different agents. Like I mentioned, there's service agent, there's sales agent, there's marketing agent. So all of these different agents that are standard, and you can customize your own agent as well. Now, an example here is Wiley. So Wiley has thousands of students that use Wiley's educational resources every year, and their service calls spike during peak times, increasing demand for customer service efficiency, and there's a need for positive experiences there. So using Agentforce, Wiley has seen a 40% higher case resolution. And the solution essentially is that it allows Wiley to create these agents, AI agents, that are data and provide data-powered recommendations and seamless integration into their workflow, enabling Wiley to resolve a lot of these cases faster. And that's led to at least $230,000 in annual savings, in annual cost savings, with a 40% higher resolution using Agentforce. Now, I've mentioned that there's innovations that we've done between Salesforce and with AWS. So one of them is bringing your own model with SageMaker. So your predictive models that you have, your churn models, all of those models that you have, you can bring, let's say you have them running on SageMaker, you can bring them into Salesforce using Bring Your Own Model that is built in within Salesforce. You can bring them in. And an example here is propensity buy, or you can have a churn model, for example. You can use that with Flow, Apex, any of the other tools that you know and you love with Salesforce. You can also bring in your own LLMs now. So all of the ones that you have running on Bedrock, for example, you can bring those into Salesforce and use them with Flow, Apex, and the other tools that I mentioned. Now, I did touch on Data Cloud. So essentially, it is our hyperscale data platform that is built in. You get to know your customers. You can connect and harmonize all of your customer data into a single view and see any changes as they come in. There's batch streaming. There's batch as well as there's streaming. And you can act on real-time data. So you can make more powerful decisions, more efficient decisions, and that can also help with the AI agents. You can also grow your customer loyalty. You can deliver more personalized and relevant experiences to your customers using Data Cloud. So we have over 100 billion records daily that are updated with Data Cloud. And with Data Cloud as well, there's native integration with AWS, so you can personalize these end-to-end customer experiences across marketing, commerce, sales, and service. And there's built-in connectors to Amazon S3, to Redshift, as well as to other data sources. There's also advanced AI, of course. You can, like I mentioned, bring your own LLM into Salesforce with no-code builders. You can also activate insights easily by building scalable and flexible audiences with drag-and-drop segmentation as well, so you can do that. You can also have activation with Amazon Ads and have that engagement using clicks and not code. Now, I talked briefly about this. There is Model Builder, which allows you to bring in your predictive models. You can bring in your own large language models. You can also create predictive models directly. This is a feature that we have within Data Cloud. You can create these predictive models. So instead of, you can have them, let's say, on SageMaker, but if you want to build them directly within Salesforce, you can use Model Builder to do that. So all three of these products are now GA. And yeah, this is just an overview essentially of, again, bring your own model and bring your own large language model. You can bring in, right now we allow you to bring in all three you can bring in Anthropic models from Bedrock. You can bring in Cohere and Mistral as well using our open connector. So we now have an open connector so that you're not just tied into certain models that we have tiles for. You can bring in other models as well. So using our open connector with Model Builder, you can bring any other models as well that are not listed here as well. So, and the way this works is first you have you share your data across, let's say, to Amazon SageMaker. You then you build a model, let's say, on SageMaker using that data from Salesforce. And once you have that data and that model that's created, you add it to a registry. You can then use the endpoint and give that endpoint to Model Builder, or it was erstwhile called Einstein Studio. So you can use that endpoint and get inferences from that model. And those inferences will be saved and used directly within Salesforce. So let's say you have a churn model running on SageMaker. You can use and bring those inferences back directly into Salesforce and apply them directly anywhere within Salesforce using Flow, Apex, other tools as well. This is, again, a more in-depth view as to how this works with Bedrock, BYO-LLM with Bedrock. But it essentially is the exact same thing that I mentioned. We also have audit trails here with BYO-LLM. So you can, let's say, you have your model that's there with Bedrock. You just provide the endpoint. And that endpoint, then we will get the inferences from that endpoint from Bedrock. So let's say on the Salesforce side, you have made a certain request. You ask for, let's say you want to generate an email, and that gets passed through to Bedrock, and then on that response back as well. We will keep those. We will take those inferences. We'll take that response and provide it to anywhere in Salesforce. Now, the magic here is that in addition to all of this, we have our trust layer. What our trust layer does is that it takes out any PII information, names, addresses, credit card information, social security numbers, things like that. So we will do that. And we will also, in addition to that, look for toxicity scores. We will provide bias detection, all of that within Salesforce. So that is our trust layer. And you also have audit trails here. So the audit trail will essentially keep track of what was sent out and what was sent back in. So we keep logs of all of that. That's available to you as the customer as well. Yeah, back to you, Rachna.
All right, thank you. So before we get into, we talked about Salesforce Data Cloud. We talked about all the great things. I'm going to just summarize a little bit on how the BYO-LLM and AWS, Salesforce is all coming together here. And then we're going to go deep dive into the Bedrock. So like how Daryl explained, when you do BYO-LLM, bring your own large language models in Salesforce from your Amazon own account. It's essentially is a process where you as a customer have your own AWS account and you have your own Bedrock offering. You pick what models you want to use. You can use Bedrock to do evaluations. There are plenty of models on Bedrock, which we will talk about. And you have access to all these models right within Salesforce Model Builder, which means that when you get into the Model Builder, you have a whole list of models that you can see, and we take care of the mechanisms for authentication and all the details. And that's the beauty of the strategic solution, because we have built the connections on behalf of you internally, so you could do this very simply and get the connection to your AWS models. And once it's in there, those models are available all across Salesforce. You talk about Prompt Builder, you talk about great things like Agentforce, or you think about Salesforce Flows. All no-code platform on Salesforce, and in a very no-code way, you can access the Bedrock models right in the Salesforce. Now let's talk about how does Bedrock, how do you pick which model, what are the models on Bedrock, and what is Bedrock? So how many of you are already aware of Amazon Bedrock service? Yes, if you're in the reInvent, you probably know Bedrock, right? All right, so Amazon Bedrock is a API-based GenAI service that allows you to access various industry-leading foundational models, such as Cohere and Jurassic models of AI281, open source model, Meta and Llama, Meta models and Mistral. Also models like stability, image generation models, and Amazon's own first-party model, all are available on Amazon Bedrock. Now, it's not just the availability of the model, it's also about how can you access these models is important. On Bedrock, you can access these models all using a single API, which means you don't have to write separate payloads or separate formats for all the intake that these models take when you're writing the prompts and you're writing the request and then the natural language prompts. These models can also be customized on Bedrock. You can do fine-tuning, you can do prompt engineering, or if you want to have more customization done based upon your business domain, you can use techniques like retrieval augmented generation, which essentially allows you to inject your own business-specific relevant data with the natural language prompt, so the models can respond to you with more accurate answers. You can also have managed agents on Bedrock. Agents are great because they not only allow you to just get the information from your systems using natural language, they also allow you to execute the actions. So you could be building something like a travel assistant that can book the flight for you, create something which can process the medical claims maybe. All those actions can be performed using agents. And when you do all this on Bedrock, you do this with peace of mind because Bedrock is secure and safe and takes care of the privacy of the data. We will talk more on that. This is a list of models, and of course this list has evolved. It has changed from yesterday because we launched new models on Bedrock as of yesterday's announcements, Nova models, the first-party model of Amazon. Here is a list which is all available through BYO-LLM within Salesforce. You can access any of these models in a very consistent manner with single API approach. The list of models is huge. I'm going to give you a high-level overview. On a high level, the models kinds on Bedrock are of three kinds. You could have a text-to-text generation model or text-to-image generation model in which you provide the natural language prompt to create the image, edit the images. And the third category of model is embedded models. Embedded models are really great because embedding models allows you to do searches. They allow you to implement techniques like RAG we just talked about. And all these models enable these capabilities. AI281 models, Jurassic models are on Bedrock. Anthropic models like Claude 3.5, Haiku 3.5, all the latest Claude series is on Bedrock. You can also access Cohere. Cohere has some great text models and embedding models as well. You can access open source models like Meta and the Meta Llama models and the Mistral models. on Bedrock, and then Stability AI that has image generation models. You also have first-party models on Amazon, its own models. There are two families of models now. One is the Titan models. Titan model family has text-to-text generation. It also have text-to-image generation models, and it also have embedding models. And we launched the Amazon Nova series as of yesterday. We will talk more on that as well. All right. So these are some of the Anthropic Claude models. Anthropic Claude models have gained a lot of trust with the customers because they provide a great balance of intelligence, cost, and speed. Anthropic Claude models, they are built with 3H principles, which is harmlessness, honesty, and helpfulness. They have shown great benchmarks as well. Some of the most recent models from Claude are also available on Bedrock, like Haiku 3.5 and Sonnet 3.5. Sonnet 3.5 is really popular because of it's a really capable model. It can handle various agentic workflows as well. And Haiku is great with the speed. So if you have use cases that require faster response time, maybe if you are building a chatbot, where the speed is really important because you really need to give the responses quickly, Haiku is a great model for that. Haiku models have a context window of 200K, which is really nice. We also have the predecessors of Haiku models, predecessors of Claude series, Claude 2, Claude 3 models are also available at the moment on Bedrock. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Amazon Nova models. The models that I shared earlier with you, they're all available with BYO-LLM on Salesforce. We will be working next to get the Nova models with the BYO-LLM next. Nova models are the state-of-the-art foundation models that deliver frontier intelligence and industry-leading price performance. They come in two different categories, understanding models and the creative content generation models. Within the understanding models, we have Nova Micro, Lite, Pro, and Premier. Out of this, Micro is a text-to-text generation model. Micro is the lowest cost model. And when you go to Lite and Pro and Premier, all three models are multimodal, which means they can not only process the text, they can also handle videos and images. What Lite and Pro models does, they are multimodal. They can handle a lot of scenarios. Pro is really great with some of the agentic workflows and the complex tasks and provides you a great balance of speed, intelligence, and the cost right there. All three models, Micro, Lite, and Pro, are GA now. And the Premier is, at the moment, it's going to be coming soon next year, first quarter. In the content generation models, there are two models, which is Canvas and Reel. Canvas is for the image generation. It creates state-of-the-art images, while Reel is great for state-of-the-art video generation. So a little bit on where these models shine. They provide you a great balance and options, first of all, based upon what use cases you are working on. At AWS, we strongly believe that there is no one-size-fits-all. Based upon what use cases you may have, you have to find the right balance of the cost, the accuracy, and the speed that you're looking for. Because what you need for a chatbot use case may be very different than what you need for a batch job where you're summarizing your documents. Now, Nova models have Lite and Pro. They have a really great context window. These are multimodal models. 300K if you're thinking about text as an input. Just to give you a context for the context, 300K is almost equal to 225 words. 225,000 words. Get it into the pages so you can visualize it. 225,000 words is almost equivalent to 700 pages. Now, 700 pages could be a lot, which means you can send these 700 pages along with your prompt to the models, and with those 700 pages, you can provide whatever business context that you have. So it could be the whole code base in 700 pages, or it could be a list of whole financial documents that you may have. It could be the whole book, right? 700 pages is a big number. And what this does is, as you give more context to your models, it provides you more relevant, accurate responses with the possibility of least hallucination. Also, you have 200 plus languages that you can use on these models. So plenty of choices. All these models can be fine-tuned as well. All right, so now we have a lot of models. The next challenge is, how do you evaluate these models? So on Bedrock, we also have capability to do the model evaluation and get the right model for your right use case. For model evaluation, there are multiple ways you can go about. First is you can do automatic model evaluation. As part of automatic model evaluation, you have a couple of steps to do. What you're trying to do is you have a bunch of models, and you want to pick the right model. So first of all, you need to know what use case you have. You need to have reference prompts, a data set, that you will provide to a model evaluation job. You can get your data, or you can use the data which is curated and available right on Bedrock. Once you have this data with you, and you know what model you're evaluating, you run the job, and the job will come back with a couple of metrics which will tell the dimensions in terms of accuracy, robustness, and toxicity. So you're going to get relevant metrics that can define these 3 dimensions. And now you have that available for all different models in your list that you want to evaluate. And now you can see which one is working best for you. But hey, not everything can be evaluated in numbers. What about the scenarios where you want to evaluate the brand voice? How does the model respond? Does it sound like empathetic if you're serving maybe a senior citizens related application, or whatever your scenario could be? So for that sounding kind of a thing, subjective things in the output, you need human in the loop. On Bedrock, you can also do human in the loop workflows as part of the offering, where you can evaluate the models all across and see where the workforce that you have in-house, or you can use Amazon's offered workforce as well, evaluate these models for various criteria, and score the output. Now, model evaluation is great, but it does need human in the loop. Whenever we say human in the loop, it is awesome, but how do you scale, right? That's a challenge. How do you scale to millions of things that you want to get done? For that, we recently launched LLM as a judge. It's the third option on Bedrock that you can use. With LLM as a judge, you can get human-like evaluation using large language model itself as a judge, which means you can use some evaluation models, and you can use these evaluation models to evaluate the LLM that you want to evaluate. Now, using the LLM as a judge, you can save a lot of time, and you can get things done with a fraction of a cost. All right, so when you're doing all the model evaluation, you want to do everything with safety and security in mind. On Bedrock, when you're using any of the models, even the third-party models like Anthropic, Cohere, Meta, you are not leaving the AWS infrastructure when you're making inference calls. Every inference call that you do, or the fine-tuning data that you send, it stays within the boundary of AWS, because these models are deployed right on AWS infrastructure. And if you plan to do the fine-tuning of the models, the fine-tuned models of the base model stays only with you. It is not shared with any other customer that belongs to your AWS boundary. And any data that you use for the inference or for fine-tuning, the data at rest, the data in transit can all be encrypted and can be secured. Bedrock is also compliant with various compliance programs like HIPAA eligibility, GDPR, SOC, and ISO, and so on. And Bedrock is integrated with various AWS services. So if you are creating anything production ready, you want to make sure you are doing the right level of logging. So you can look at how the number of invocations are happening, how is the latency. Using CloudWatch, which is another service in AWS, you can look at the logs. You can also set the thresholds on when the alert should go out in case the latency is high or the number of requests is more than what you thought it would be, and there is throttling that's happening. You can do all those controls and observability capabilities using CloudWatch. You can also use CloudTrail service to do the auditings. Who is making the request to the API? And what was done at what time? So using all the CloudTrail capabilities, you can audit all the requests. So that's how different AWS services, when you put them together, you can create a holistic GenAI solution. All right, so now that we have learned a little bit on Bedrock, we will see things in action, how things come together with the demo, and I'll give it to Daryl for that.
Thank you very much, Rachna. All right, so like Rachna mentioned, we're going to show a demo of how you can bring in a Bedrock model into Salesforce and do a summary within Salesforce. So let's say you want something like this, which will, you want a button within Salesforce that says summarize certain account information for me. Provide summaries, or if you want to ask it more questions, provide that for me. But you want to use a certain Amazon model that you have with Bedrock. So in order to do that, we've already talked about how you can use bring your own large language models here. But essentially, you have your Bedrock account. You can take the endpoint from that and provide it. So how do you do that step by step? Let's say you've set up your Bedrock account already. Next, what you can do is you can go to Model Builder within Salesforce. There will be a button there when you are adding in a new foundation model, and there will be a tile that says Connect to Amazon Bedrock. Once you've done that, you can provide the information about where the model lives. You can provide the authentication methods here, such as API key, give it a certain name to this model, and you can also say whether it's fine-tuned or not. And you can then configure it. So what the playground essentially does is it allows you to test the model before actually adding it anywhere in Salesforce. So this model playground allows you to tweak it a little bit. You can check if this is the right model. You can add a certain prompt. You can get the response back. So that's essentially sending a request to Bedrock, and you get the response back. So you test that out, and then you can click Save in the bottom right. And once you've saved that, you have a configured model. And this configured model, then you can use it within what we call our prompt templates, or actions, let's say, within Agentforce, or you can use it within Salesforce Lightning. What that means is you can then take that model, the model name here, and embed that within Salesforce. You can use it with, like I said, actions, with Apex, with flows, any of the other Salesforce tools that we have. And here, an example here is you use it within prompt template. You say that this is for the model that I'd like to use that I've just brought in. You save that, and that prompt template, you are giving it certain instructions here. So this prompt template is saying, bring in certain information about a customer, bring that information here, and you're referencing information within all of Salesforce. So you can reference cases that you have or opportunities that you have within all of your sales listings there. So that's one example. You can create other prompt templates. There are some standard templates. You can create your own custom templates as well. But you reference which model you're actually bringing in. You can do that by choosing custom and this configured model. There are other standard models as well that we provide. We also provide directly some of the Anthropic models through Bedrock. But if you wanted to bring in your own model, then you can reference that connected model that you have. And once you save this template, you can use that. You can use that in Lightning so that you can get that component here. And you can see here the example is of giving a summary, or you can ask it further questions as well. But that prompt template itself will be what references Bedrock. That's one way. You can also, like I mentioned, you can use this prompt template within our Agentforce custom action. So within Agentforce itself, you can tell an agent, these are the actions I want you to go and do. So you can tell it, this is your role. These are the guardrails that you can have. These are the types of models that you can call, or these are type of actions that you can call, and then the different channels that you have for the agent. So the agent can converse via chatbot. It can assist in generating an email automatically. It can send, let's say, text messages to customers. So you can use those certain custom actions within Agentforce, and that can reference this Bedrock model that you have in. So yeah, and another example here is email generation using Amazon Bedrock. So that's another example. And yep, you can use EventBridge to generate email text here as well. So we've talked about this use case, and that's it for now. Thank you very much. I encourage taking a picture of this if you need more resources. You can get started with Amazon Bedrock. You can also, there's a blog that we've written on getting started with Salesforce. Bring your own large language model. And yep, definitely visit us at the booth. So we are at the booth. You can create your own agents now within 10 to 15 minutes. So you can try that at the booth. We're at booth 740 at the main expo. You can learn more, and definitely do contact your AE if you have more questions. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.